Hey everyone, Eric with Rockin H TV session 81. Tonight I'm going to do a How It's Made episode where I just explain how I made the Australian road train that I made for a guy in Australia. And just going to explain that. I'm a little late tonight, about 10 minutes late because my daughter's vocal concert ran long and so subsequently didn't get home on time. So we're here and excited to see all of you joining. I see Jason and Alan, Vaughn. Who did I miss there? Alan, there you go. Good to see you, Alan. Thanks for joining in. And we have Carson with us. Good to see you. Lots of good guys here. Jason and I were having a short chat about YouTube and how to monetize what we do. I'll carry that on when we're done here. But I won't keep you real long. And unfortunately, over the weekend, I did a couple of live episodes and told you guys, whoever was watching, that I was going to do a live show, a How It's Made show. Let's see, on how to do this super grain train. Well, the road train. Then I went and packed it up and shipped it off today. So we don't really have the physical models anymore. So you don't have those, but we do have pictures of the models, and that's what we're going to go from. Okay, so we'll get with that. I got a few other things I can pull out if you're wanting to see some things. Like I said, I really regret that I didn't keep those one more day, but I was just eager to get those on the road. They're paid for, and it is all good. So Nick is planting beans in Illinois. Well, good to see you, Nick. Have a safe planting season. Get those beans in the ground just the right depth, right? Gosh, you're already planting beans up in Illinois. Wow. We're busy planting corn down here in this part of the country. I know beans are going in the ground here and there. Boy, if we could get some rain, our wheat's about that tall. That's not good. Ryan's in the house. Good to see you, Ryan. So, let me I'm going to grab just a couple of things here so you can see for yourself. Here we go. Like I said, I shipped the models and I should have kept them another day to do this properly, but oh well. That's what you get when you're eager to get paid and make something go away. I have to see if I got it in my other thingy. Oh, Jason's already done planting beans. Wow. Okay. So, and let me see. And I had a box of brass. Where'd my brass go? Look at that in it. Here we go. All right. Okay, now we can get started on this. Okay, so we're going to kick it off. I'll keep it kind of short tonight, unless you guys just have a bunch of questions about what I did. We're not going to go just a lot of depth. We'll just kind of get it done, all right? So, hello everyone. Eric with Rockin H TV session 81. Tonight we're going to do how it's made on the road train I did for Dylan out in Australia. He came over here on harvest and ran with Frederick Harvesting for the season. We met up. I did a couple of trucks that he had driven this past summer on harvest, and then he says, can you do our road train, the truck we drive on the farm? I said, well, sure. And I admit I was eager to do this because it was novel, never done it before. I thought it was kind of cool. It's probably one of the more difficult builds I've ever done just because there's so many moving parts. And I will tell you, I broke my rule about not doing, whenever I do more than, like something brand new like this that I've never touched and I don't know what I'm doing, have no clue where to begin, what to do, I always suggest you do two of them, one to keep or give away, sell to a buddy, and then one you give to your client so they get the one that you've kind of figured out what not to do or what to do or make it better. And then, your buddy or your friend is thinks you're a rock star because you just gave them, you know, a really cool model that there's only 2 of. Anyways, I didn't follow that rule, and that was a huge mistake because I learned so much on this one. I know he would have gotten a much better model if I'd have done 2. What he got's very nice. I admit I got a little frustrated with it just because it's like, God damn, is this thing ever going to get done? Holy cow. And part of it was my fault because I was lazy this winter. I just didn't work as hard. And then, you know, trying just ordering parts and this and that. But I'm going to get into that in just a moment. So no excuses. It is what it is. Still a nice model. Going to look great on a shelf. But, you know, might want to stay a couple feet away. That'd be okay. That'd be okay. Had an incoming call. Can't avoid those. So let's start here. I'm just going to show you pictures here, guys. We're going to start with the cab. So, for better or for worse, this is what you got, guys. So this truck came from, the cab here came from Moore Park Model Works, Kent Lowen. For all of you that might know that name, he and I did some horse trading. I got this for some stuff that I gave him. Really, really cool model to work with. This is actually a K200. The truck that I made is not a K200. It is a K102 or something. There it is. So on the cab that Kent sent me, it actually had this long grill, a wide grill. Long story short, this grill does not fit that cab. And if I can find the part I threw away, I'll show you. Okay. So this is actually, you can't see it very well. I got 2 of these, one in strong and flexible and one in something else. You could see over here how big an opening this grill is on the original K200, okay? Wow. So I had to come in, and on this particular truck, I had to fill all this in, sand it out, clean all this out, and then I bought this cab for the grill and these hand grabs here. So I bought this cab here just for the grill and these parts here, and then also the air horns. But anyway, so I had to make a hole that looks like this for the grill off of the K100 to fit this K200 body. You'll see back here I put a piece of styrene in place, super glued that in, body filler, and then I had to come in here with a knife and a file and sand the snot out of it to make it fit properly. And you can see it did come in here, and it looks pretty darn good. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay. I also took the visor off of this truck and I put it up here. The windshield right here is a piece of plastic from a DCP clamshell I cut and fit into place. You'll notice that there's a brown mark underneath there because the real truck has tinted glass halfway up, and then there's also a divider thing in there which I didn't put on. But there's a piece of tinted glass that fits over this top part of the windshield, so I just took brown Sharpie and colored a straight line over there to make it replicate the correct, to make it look like their windshield. Okay, I'm just going to start kind of at the front and I'll work my way back around. So the grill here, the visor, and these 2 mirrors came off of this cab, as well as the hand grabs on both the driver and passenger sides. These headlights here are just chrome Molotow chrome pens that I just colored those in. Okay, this grill actually came from Simon over in Australia. He deals in these road trains, these 1/64 scale road trains. I rang him out of the blue and says, I see you got some K200 bumpers, can you get me one? And he did. So, and I have to give him a big shout out. He was a huge help because he shipped it to me for free at his cost. He didn't ask me for anything, and I was more than willing to pay whatever he wanted. I didn't really care. I just needed it, right? So, huge shout out to Simon. I certainly appreciate the help on this bumper right here. And I had to modify it as well. Let me see. Oh, these air horns up here also came off of the K100 I bought for parts. Okay. Let me see here. Let's go this way. You'll see here the hand grabs here. Okay, that came off of my parts truck. I took black Sharpie here to color in these lights, chrome paint pen here on this, whatever you call it, I don't know what that is, this chrome part up here. Okay, Molotow chrome pen here on the door handle. Down here you can't see it very well, but that's what I did. I had to take a piece of styrene plastic and glue it to this bumper to get it to fall underneath this cab, just like the real one, or similar to, not just like, but similar to the real one, and then file it down, again using the Molotow chrome pen to give it the chrome color on the bumper. So you have factory bumper here, and then my add-in on both sides over here. The artwork was paid for at Fiverr. Had a freelancer at Fiverr do that. Fiverr.com, nothing magical there. I've got some videos showing you how to use Fiverr. But anyways, I paid a freelancer some money. I forget what I charged, but I'll get to the parts list here soon. Thanks for the love. Appreciate that. Garrett, I think that's you. So basically spent a couple hours resizing the artwork, getting it right, and then printed them and applied them. One of them, I think it's the other side, has a little, yeah, they didn't go on quite straight. Not as straight as these. These look really, really good over here. These are freaking awesome. The other side, I think one of the trailers has a weird goofy part in it. Okay. You saw a video. I have a video out of Rockin H TV showing you how to make a twin steer chassis out of a, I bought two K100 frames, just the frames, and in that video you can see how I made the twin steer. So nothing magical there. The fenders that are stuffed up underneath there actually come from the model mechanic on Shapeways, his store. Here's what I used for the front fenders. They come in a set of 6 or more. You have a front, or you could use them for lift axles. But here's the narrow ones for single tires, and here's for tandem. So I have single. I had to take these, paint them red, and then I stuffed them underneath here. That was quite a challenge. Unfortunately, I lost some steering ability inside there, just because that was quite a challenge to get the fenders on, and then get the cab level, and then make it, and still keep it able to keep it steering. That was a challenge. It was a pretty big deal. So the back one kind of turns. You can kind of position the back one, but not the front one so much. Use the tandem axle fenders from Model Mechanic on Shapeways for the rear. And then these tanks were actually leftover tanks that I painted white, and then took my Molotow chrome pen to put the chrome stripes on them, just like the real one. Up here you'll have some air breathers, which I handmade. Basically took some pipe, take pipe or some leftover exhaust, and then fashioned these breathers on top of here out of styrene, and then glued them to the pipe. The exhaust is leftover exhaust from IH Pro Stars. And then this air conditioner up here is a piece of styrene that I just filed and fashioned until it looked like an air conditioner like the real one. Nothing too magical there. Okay, let's look back here. Right here, these pieces of these fenders here on both trailers on these dollies, that comes from a piece of styrene that I bent and then glued on after painting black. The dolly itself is actually a DCP triaxle cattle pot running gear. Okay, so just a triaxle assembly off of a DCP cattle pot. I've had these around for a long time. I got them from a guy. The hitch I bent down, you can't see it, but there's a hitch right here, and it's just brass rod that I bent and then soldered to a piece of pipe and then pinned in here, right here, okay? So that's how we made the dolly. Of course, painted it red, and I believe it's Viper Red is what I used to match the paint, and it worked out very, very well. Okay. The bed here does not match the real truck because he wanted this, what he calls a tipper bed, to match the trailers. So made that happen. Let me see. I put that little hand grab, salvaged that off of this one too. I forgot about that. Yeah. Had to put some styrene back here to bring out, to make a skirt more or less off the back of the cab. The original cab didn't have it, so I made that skirt out of styrene. This is styrene layered, filed, and sanded smooth. You can see a couple blems here, but not too bad. And then the bed here is all brass. That's brass I broke with a sheet metal brake and then a brass floor, but the ends are both styrene. There you can see the styrene cap for that air breather. I did a video, Rockin H TV 80, I believe, where I showed how to make this tarp. This has since been glued down so it doesn't hang up anymore, which is better actually. I think it looks better than, and it's just duct tape painted and cut to size. Okay. There's a picture of the dolly. This is a DCP fifth wheel plate that's just been glued on, nothing fancy. You can see how this part came together over here. If I had to do something over again, well, I won't get to that yet. I'll wait. The chute right here is just a piece of styrene square tubing cut down with an opening here, and then I just cut it down and glued it on, painted it. Nothing particularly fancy. Here you can see the hitch for the dolly. Again, just rod bent and then soldered to a piece of pipe with another piece of brass rod glued to it, soldered to it for the hitch. And then of course I put a hitch on the back of the truck and the trailers. Okay, this was kind of a trick here too because everything was a moving target. I mean, it was just crazy. I'm looking, oh, here it is. Okay, so this cap right here on the front of that trailer, that is a piece of brass rod, and I just took it and put it in my brake. This is one I screwed up and didn't like, so I didn't keep it. So I made a bunch of these. Anyway, so this is what I did is, I scored it. You can see those lines in there. I would score that every 1/16 of an inch or so, and then I put it in my sheet metal brake and I'd bend it just a little till we had a curve. But then I had to flare out a flat side, which you can't see very well on this photo. Let me see if I can, there we go. Let me go back, there you can see it maybe. There's a flat side right here. Check that out. So after I got done bending this curve in here, then I had to stick it in my brake like so, and then flare that out to where it had a flat spot because that's the way the real one is. All right. That was kind of tricky. That was crazy. Oh, here you can see how I didn't get that on straight right here. Kind of sucks, but that's what it is. Yeah. So again, the front end, the sides, and the floor are all brass. Okay, let me see. Get some more trailer photos here. There you can kind of see that flat spot too there. Okay. Inside of all this, if you are familiar with DCP East End dumps, or any of their dump trailers with a telescoping hoist like this, there is a piece of die cast behind this front wall, and then it pins at the top. I recreated that out of brass. So what I ended up doing, I don't know if I've got one here anymore. That was, I think I spent probably a morning just figuring that out. But anyways, I started with a piece of flat brass like this, and then I had to bend it and bend it. So I had to have Again, this would be so much better if I'd have kept them. Anyways, so I had 2 bends in it to make kind of a horseshoe shape, and then I had to leave a flap on top that I could bend down, drill a hole through to take the top of this telescope, drill a hole through it, and then put the telescoping through piece through the hole and then pin it. But then I also had to solder some rod in there. So I drilled a hole through this little cone inside the front of that trailer, drill a hole through that, run the telescoping hoist through, and then find the hole on the hoist, and then make a place for the pin to slide through the hoist, so it wouldn't come out when you were raising and lowering it. That's a terrible way to explain it, but that's the best I got, because like I said, I shipped the trucks off. On the real trucks, this fifth wheel, or this dolly right here, does not come out in front of the trailer. This should be, these 2 pieces right here, the front of this and the front of that trailer should be even. You'll notice we have a landing gear in place. That's just in the way. There's just not enough room. If I had to do it over again, I would hand make the frame for the trailer. That would be loads easier. And what I did here, and you can see the splice right here, is I took an East End dump trailer frame from Diecast Promotions, DCP, and I cut, forget what, an inch out of it, and then spliced it back together to make the frame. And that kept the triaxles all together. In my mind, it would be easier, but the results are, this doesn't look right. So if I had to ever do it again, I would have somebody draw it up, 3D print it if there was demand, or I'd just make it out of brass and be done with it. And then maybe even forfeit the landing gear, because frankly I don't think it adds that much detail considering this looks silly. So I had to do this times 2. I bought the hoist from, who did I buy? Oh, I bought a second hoist from DJ Harrison. It was the one for the truck. So bought that for like 15 bucks, I think, shipped. So that was a kind of a dandy thing. What am I missing here, guys? If there's something that you're not clear on, let me know and I'll be glad to tell you. Again, you can see the hole where the hoist goes into the trailer, or to the bed of the truck, and then you can see I pinned it right here to this framing right there. You can see a hole there with a pin that holds the hoist into this frame. Okay, and then yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It sounds really easy, but it took a lot more fab work than that, because I already had this thing put together with a different bed. What else? Let's take another look here. Yeah, I think we're getting to something else. Oh, that's a video. Never mind. We don't want to do that. So you can see all of them tip, and this is just a standard DCP hoist. Nothing fancy there, just what they had. Right. And then all of this, the rollover tarp frame, this part right here, had to kind of match the angle, the curve of the front. First, it had to match the curve of the front. Then it also kind of had to have a curve over the top in an effort to make everything look right, and then cover up where the hoist actually comes through the bed. What else do we got here? You'll see some DCP tarp bows here. I got a bunch of those on handy, so those are DCP tarp bows. The whole tarp frame, the tarp bows, and everything was handmade. Took a lot of fab work. I probably spent 3-4 hours just putting all that together. It's just, you got to figure it out, and then once you get it figured out, you got to put it together, and then you got to paint it, and prime it and paint it and everything, and put it all together. Yikes! It took a lot of time. I'm not real happy with the way the back end of this looks. It looks kind of wonky, but there's just a lot of distance in here, and it doesn't look clean and neat. But was kind of out of answers. I really didn't know how to solve that puzzle, really. That's kind of one of those things. This is actually a photo of the way the real truck is lined up in a photo he gave me to go by. Okay, we're out of those. Okay, what I want to do quick is, okay, so this is where I keep all of my truck projects that I get. So what I'll do is, like you see here, this we see Frederick Harvesting. You'll see what I quote for the project and blah, blah, blah. Number 1118. Okay, so this is where we got Dylan's truck. So this is the road train. This is one of the first sets of photos he sent me. Yeah, you're right, Carson. Mud flaps would have helped. So this is what I have in the truck. From Gabe Fleener, I bought 2 frames, and these were just K100 frames in red for the twin steer frame on the truck. Those were $40 a piece, or excuse me, $40 total together. Then I bought 2 Max 3-axle cold dump trailers for $115. And who did I buy those from? Man, I don't recall. I want to think I bought them from Phil at Stampin' Toys, but I just don't remember now that I didn't write it down. That's what you get. Single tire fenders were and the front and back, or excuse me, no, the single tire fenders were $23.87. Those come from Model Mechanic on Shapeways. The dual tire fenders were $26.25. And look at that, you get them. There's 6 sets of these fenders here. So you get quite a few of them, which makes them, and I broke it out, $397 a set, or $438 depending on which style you bought. Anyways, so the fenders were $23 and $26 respectively, and I ended up breaking a couple in the process. I bought, let me see, I spent $10 on brass, and then one thing I didn't include here, and I kind of blows, I gave the guy $20 to shear some brass for me, which was highway robbery. He didn't shear it straight. I spent $16 on artwork, so all these stripes that I did for his truck, that was $16 just for that. Now there's no time. I did not put any time into this, and there's 2 pieces of 2 expenses that I didn't include in this. One was the extra hoist from DJ Harrison, Harrison Custom Minis. That was $15. Right here as it sets, it's basically $250. So, and this is only parts, okay? This is only parts for this build was $250 to replicate this. Oh, get this. Here's the drawing he sent me of the dimensions of the truck. So you could see the trailers were 32 foot long, 7.5 feet tall. The bed on the truck was 17 foot. So that's kind of funny, isn't it? And then here are the photos of the real truck that he sent me. So to replicate this the way I did it cost $250. And that is not counting those. That's not no labor at all. So that's what we got. Jim says, you do custom work for items we have? New here. Can you clarify your question, Jim? That would be huge. I'd appreciate it. I think, do I do custom work? Yes, I do custom work, but I do a lot of teaching so people can do their own stuff if they want to. So this particular truck was a custom rig that I sent to Australia this morning. Okay, guys, that is basically how I made it, and I regret I was really eager to ship these trucks off and get them into Dylan's hands. He commissioned this project back in October, and I didn't get started on it till November. And then he left for Australia. He left home long before I could get it done. And like I said, I was a bit lazy this winter. Didn't work quite as hard as I've had in the past. But, you know, everyone has a dip. I had mine. this winter. So if you have any questions, now is a good time to ask them on this build. I do end up having the good fortune is I do have a couple of leftover parts that I can use. I do have a handful of fenders I might use someplace. I do have a K100 frame off of this one, for this one that I kept, or I bought this truck just for parts. So $40 in this thing. I guess I didn't include that on my little sheet because that bumped it way up over $250. But I kind of figure I can reuse this someplace. I don't know where, but I will. And then, of course, don't know what I'll do with that, but I'll do something with it, for sure. So that's kind of what we did. That's the Super B road train, guys, how I made it, how it's made, and all that good stuff. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section here. I'll be glad to have those and answer what you want to know. Yeah, and I think that's it. So, gosh, that was harder than I thought it'd be. It turned out to be a lot more difficult than I thought it'd be. It turned out okay. It's good. It's not awful. It's good. It's good. Probably not my best work ever, but it's still it's nice. It'll look great on a shelf, and you say there's only one of them. So with that, guys, I think I'll let you go. Have a great evening. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment, and share. I'd appreciate it. And if you have any other questions, don't forget, leave them in the comments, and I will catch you next week, 8:30 Central, right here, Rockin H TV. We'll see you. Bye.